and welcome to Psalmic Saturday here at Ariel's Corner. This is Ariel Gatoga, and we are streaming live on YouTube. Moderating today are the lovely Honeypaw and the lovely Jason. Thank you so much, moderators, and thank you so much to everybody for joining us today for this Psalm spell. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. If you're not having a wonderful day so far, I hope today will change that, turn it around for you. We are here every Saturday. In fact, we're here every day, Wednesday through Sunday. And we'll be back tomorrow for a live stream lecture. Then we'll take 2 days off. We'll be back on Wednesday after that for Witchy Wednesday, and we'll start the whole thing over again. Our website is located at arielscorner.com, arielscorner.com. That's where you can find all of our free courses, our free booklets, free lectures, free guided meditations, and so much more. So please have a look, arielscorner.com, arielscorner.com. While you're here, please make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. It really does help our channel. Our shop is located at arielscornershop.com, arielscornershop.com. We have some t-shirts, some mugs. I'm having some nice coffee out of my Raven mug right now. We are going to get some hoodies in there soon, and we're always open to suggestions. Right now, that shop is just print-on-demand type merchandise. We will have other kinds of merchandise at some point in the future, but we don't know when. It's just a nice, easy way to contribute to the channel if you'd like to do that, and if you like to go shopping. Another way to contribute is to give a donation, and you can do that by going to paypal.me/arielgatoga, paypal.me/arielgatoga, or on YouTube if you're live, you could use a super sticker or super chat in the chat thread, or if you're watching on a restream, you could always use a super thanks. We do appreciate your support, and we mostly appreciate you for being here today. You can download your very own free booklet on how to work psalm magic by going to arielgatoga.com/psalmbook, arielgatoga.com/psalmbook. If you go onto our website at arielscorner.com, again, that's arielscorner.com, you'll notice in the footer of every page, and I think it's also in the header now, are links to all of our social media. And that includes a link to our Discord server, which is one of the best places if you'd like to get questions answered or get support on any of the courses or booklets or anything that we do here at Ariel's Corner. That's a great place. Another place to get support would be our private Facebook group, and you can find a link for that as well on the website. We have a chat thread open right now on this stream. So please chat amongst yourselves, and if you do happen to have any questions for me personally, you can put them right in that chat thread. I'll do my best to get to it before the end of the stream. We do have a premiere at 11 a.m. Pacific time, which is just 40 minutes from now. And I have linked that premiere to this stream, so if you just hang out through the exit music, it will dump you right into a link where you can get right onto the premiere. So I hope you will join us for that. And enough blab, Ariel. We've got to get going so we're not late for our premiere. So here we go. Yikes. There we go. Today we are working Psalm 8. In traditional psalm magic, we use Psalm 8 frequently for obtaining new customers in a business, also to improve our self-esteem, for help in business in general, and also for general goodwill. And today I want to use Psalm, and you can use this video to work on any of those things, but I'm going to orient the psalm today toward accessing and utilizing our own inner power. The way we work psalm magic is very simple, easy, and effective. We take the psalm in question and we speak it out loud all the way through once without stopping. This is commonly called an incantation. After we've finished that, we go back through the psalm and we consider each verse in turn. We hunt for hidden occult meanings within each verse, and we see those as magic seeds. And what we do is when we're searching for them, we're finding those meanings, we're trying to apply them to whatever the situation is that we've brought to the psalm. And by doing all of that, what we're doing is taking those magic seeds and planting them in fertile ground. And that fertile ground happens to be our own deep minds. And those seeds take root. I'm going to say that again. And those seeds take root. They grow. They blossom forth. And they bear fruit after their kind. And that is exactly what you and I are going to do right now with Psalm number 8. O Lord, our Lord, how excellent. Sorry, let's do that again. O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all of the earth. Who hast set thy glory above the heavens. Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings hast thou ordained strength because of thine enemies, that thou mightiest, let's just say that again. Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings hast thou ordained strength because of thine enemies, that thou mightest still the enemy and the avenger. When I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained, what is man that thou art mindful of him, and the son of man that thou visitest him? For thou hast made him a little lower than the angels, and hast crowned him with glory and honor. Thou madest him to have dominion over the works of thy hands. Thou hast put all things under his feet, all sheep and oxen, yea, and the beasts of the field, the fowl of the air, and the fish of the sea, and whatsoever passeth through the paths of the seas. O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all of the earth. The word Lord in the King James Version of the Bible is a translation of the Tetragrammaton in the Hebrew, Yud He Vav He, which is the proper name of the Creator, according to tradition. And the thing about that is that there was also a lot of superstition, and there still is, about the name of God. There's been a lot of talk about the ineffable name of God for centuries, and the idea that it's ineffable is frequently thought to mean that you shouldn't say the name of God because it's not polite, or it's cursed, or it's taking the Lord's name in vain. Whereas from a magical point of view, it's not that you shouldn't speak the name of God, Yud He Vav He. It's that's a representation of an unspeakable name. That it's impossible to speak God's name, even if you wanted to, because the idea of naming God in and of itself is setting it apart. It's describing it. It's making finite that which is infinite. So the idea that you can't speak the name of God, the idea that you cannot speak the name of God, is a reminder that the idea of calling God God in and of itself is problematic, because words themselves are symbols of symbols. And so the name of God is purely symbolic, because there's no way to name that which is infinite. So it's important that we don't get superstitious about saying, oh, you can't say Yud He Vav He or Yehovah or whatever because it's bad luck or it's impolite or something like that. That's not what that means. What it means is that it's impossible to actually name that which is infinite. It says, O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all the earth. Now, in the Bible, and especially for us, because what we use is the book of Psalms, but in the Psalms, the name of something means its nature, its character. So the name of God isn't so much Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh in that respect. It's what God represents, what God brings, what the qualities of God are. So that's why God has so many names, because God is infinite. God is infinite love. God is infinite life. God is infinite spirit. God is infinite soul. God is infinite intelligence. God is infinite truth. God is infinite law. God is infinite presence. All of those things plus more, plus an infinite amount of other qualities. So, how excellent is thy name in all of earth. Earth is that which is our experience. Doesn't only mean the actual planet Earth or the dust of the earth or the soil. It means that which is a concrete experience in our lives. So we are automatically at the onset, we are invoking the qualities of the infinite into our experiences. Who has set thy glory above the heavens. That's a symbolic understanding of what we've been talking about, that you can't name that which is infinite. You can't put an image onto that which is infinite. The idea of even conceptualizing the infinite is clumsy. So that has set thy glory above the heavens. It's almost impossible to conceive of that glory. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings out of the mouth of babes and sucklings hast thou ordained strength because of thine enemies. So the innocence of babes, the innocence of sucklings are the truth. They're symbols of the truth. They're symbols of who we are at our core, our innocence at our core, how we were created and how we are seen and viewed by the infinite is pure. And so no matter what we do, no matter how lofty our intellect becomes, no matter how we act toward one another, no matter how encrusted our ego minds seem to be in any situation, it doesn't matter, because the infinite has ordained strength because of all of that. So no matter what it looks like that you're going through in the finite realms of the world, the glory of the infinite is supreme. And nothing can withstand that. And so when you come to psalm magic, when you come to any kind of when you work with psalm magic, you're working with this orientation that there is one power, there's one source. And this source is this Lord that we're talking about that you can't name, even when you try to, that has infinite qualities, infinite names. And this quality, this power, this force has ordained strength in the face of any struggle, in the face of any so-called enemy. No matter what has been presented to you by your ego mind, it is always divinely outmatched. And the ego mind is very sly, crafty, and cunning in that it wants to get us very busy and focused on everything but the infinite, because it understands that the infinite is a threat to it, because the infinite is truth. It shines truth onto any situation, and then anything that doesn't look like truth is dissolved. So it's important to remind ourselves that this is the case. It says that thou mightest still the enemy and the avenger. The enemy and the avenger can be anything in your life that is a problem. And remember that all problems stem from the ego mind that wants us focused on problems rather than the infinite. If we're focused on problems rather than the infinite, it continues to exist. If we shift our focus from the problems and back onto the infinite, not only do the problems dissolve, But the cause of the problems dissolve as well, which is this ego mind. And remember, the ego mind is an entire thought system based on a single thought: I am separate. I am separate. I'm separate from my good. I'm separate from the infinite. I'm separate from other people. I'm separate. I'm insignificant. I'm small. I'm a speck of dust. That's the whole idea of the ego. And the infinite always will turn that thought system on its head. So the ego knows that it's no match for the infinite. Therefore, therefore its only power is to distract us and to keep us busy focusing on everything but the infinite. When I consider thy heavens, the works of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained, what is man that thou art mindful of him? Now this is a very important step, because we believe what the ego teaches us. I'm nothing. I'm just a speck of dust. I'm not worthy. And therefore, that's where all arrogance stems. Because we believe that we need to be strong, personally strong, so that we can withstand all of the other egos out there. And in and of itself, the idea that I'm nothing but a speck of dust is arrogant. That is the seat of all arrogance, and is the one of the main tools that the ego uses to keep us believing in it. That we're nothing but a speck of dust. We're not that important. And therefore, the answer to that is either to just succumb to that and be miserable, or to puff ourselves up and to create a pseudo strength for ourselves. But neither one is appropriate. Neither one is accurate. We were created as perfect. We were created perfect as divine extensions of truth, and we are mighty. We were created mighty. We can be nothing but mighty. We can be nothing but mighty. However, we also have the free will to use our minds as we desire. And if we are in the habit, and have gotten in the habit of seeing ourselves as small and insignificant, we will experience ourselves as small and insignificant. And to the degree that we believe that we are small and insignificant, we will either feel bad about ourselves, or we will do our best to create a pseudo strength for ourselves and puff ourselves up so that we can overcome any any perceived external threats. So it's an amazing psalm, this one. I just love this psalm. It's why it's so, I think, quoted. It's quoted so much in a lot of just literature in general, but also in the New Testament. It's even quoted again in a couple places in the Old Testament. It's pretty amazing. Okay, where was I? Okay, and this. So, what is man that thou art mindful of him? Did I do it? Let's just do all those again. When I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, when I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained, what is man that thou art mindful of him? That's what we just did. And the Son of Man that thou visitest him. So the Son of Man has several connotations, but if you think of the Son of Man as the oversoul of all creation, of all people, the divine child of the infinite, the divine child of God, of which we are all part, it puts it into an interesting context, because not only are we saying, well, who am I to think of myself as anything other than a speck of dust? But then we're going into the next, who are we as the divine child of the infinite to think of ourselves as anything other than lowly pieces of red earth, right? So then it puts that all on its head and says, for thou hast made him a little lower than the angels, and hast crowned him with glory and honor. Now, to say that we're a little lower than the angels is part of a theological understanding from these people. To them, that was a big deal. That you could even be a little lower than the angels was a big deal. But in truth, there is no higher and lower in the mind of the infinite. The whole idea of that angelic hierarchy and all of that we learn when we study angel magic, that's for our benefit because we see things in levels. That's how we see things, as having levels. We see things as potent and impotent, dark and light, good and bad, strong and weak. That's us. That's what we have here. We put everything into that. But the infinite only sees the oneness that is. And so in reality, when it says, thou hast made him a little lower than the angels and has crowned him with glory and honor, it's really saying that we're the beloved child of the infinite, in whom he is well pleased, in whom they are well pleased. Let's say that again. We are the divine child of the infinite, in whom they are well pleased. And there's nothing that we can do to change the infinite's opinion of us, because the infinite knows that it doesn't make junk. And so no matter how deprecating we are, it's not interesting to the infinite. It doesn't change the infinite's opinion of us. I think a lot of times in general, we think if we self-deprecate in the presence of the infinite, somehow we think that that's going to make the infinite like us more, or prove to the infinite that we're not arrogant or something like that. That's not the infinite's interest in us. The infinite knows who we are. The better thing to do, instead of saying, oh, I'm just a speck of dust, I'm not worthy, the better thing to do is to ask the infinite, please show me how you see me. Please show me the truth of who I am. Please show me how you've crowned me with glory and honor. Thou madest him to have dominion over the work of thy hands. Thou hast put all things under his feet. People misunderstand this and they think, oh, well, we have dominion, so we can do anything we want here. That's not what this is saying. It's saying that we were put here to take care of everything. We were entrusted. We were entrusted with this earth. And we have done a horrible job. We have really let the ego have run amok. We've done a horrible job of taking care of this earth. But even with that, the infinite is not fazed. Even with that, we cannot make the infinite change its opinion of us. This is how hard we've tried to prove to the infinite how unworthy we are, how bad we are, how we've really allowed that demiurge, that ego, to get a hold of our minds, that to the nth degree, we've done so much to try to prove to the infinite how unworthy we are, how bad we are, and arrogantly, how the infinite really messed up by creating us. But what is the infinite's response? I don't see that. That's not true. That's an illusion in your mind. All sheep and oxen, yea, all the beasts of the field, the fowl of the air, and the fish of the sea, and whatsoever passeth through the paths of the sea, everything is ours. Everything is our gift. So the world is God's gift to us, and we are God's gift to the world. Take that very personally. The world is God's gift to you, and you are God's gift to the world. People love to use that. I don't know that they do it so much anymore, but when I was a kid, that was something that people would, that phrase is something that people would use to denote arrogance in a person. They'd say, who do you think you are? God's gift to the world? And if anybody ever asks you that, you can say, yeah. And so are you. That's the problem, is that we don't understand that we are God's gift to the world, because we don't act like it. We don't act like we are God's gift to the world. And the infinite wants us to, because that's the truth of who we are. The moment we realize that and we wake up to that, we start seeing things very differently. How could you not? When you say, oh, all this time I've been a gift, all this time I'm here as the gift, and all this time the whole world was the gift for me, it makes you very different. How you see things, how you respond to things, what you do, how you treat people, how you spend your money, how you spend your time thinking, what you think about. All of those things, when you understand that the bottom line of all of it is that you are a gift and the world is your gift, everything changes in an instant. Talk about claiming your power. That is the claiming of one's power. Because we have this idea that if I claim my power, yay, then I'll have power over other people. That's very egoic. That's very weak. It's not real power. Real power is that I am the infinite's gift to the world. I am like an angel. I have that much power. I have the power of the infinite at my disposal. And everything that comes to me is a gift, and everything that I respond to is my gift to them. So when something's coming to me, if I'm not seeing the gift in it, I'm misperceiving it. If I am responding to something that is in a way that's not a gift to the world, I'm misperceiving it. It's huge. The last verse says, O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all of the earth. And it's ending the way it started. It's like a little envelope that's encircling you. It's like a magic circle that's closed around you. I like that. This whole psalm is like a magic circle enclosed around you, empowering you, giving you strength, giving you truth, giving you permission to shine, giving you permission to use your power, to be that angel that you were created to be. O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all the earth. In all the earth, take it personally. What is the earth to you? It's your money, it's your relationships, it's your car, it's your job, it's your career, it's whatever are the results in your life, whatever are the things in your life, the earth, the manifest world that you live in. So the infinite is alive in all of the manifestations of your world when you recognize the name of God in those manifestations. And the name of God is what? The qualities of God. So if there's something that you don't like in your life, it's because you're not seeing where the name of God is there. You're listening instead to the name of the ego. So if there's something that you don't like, you haven't reclaimed your power there. And you say, I'm going to see the name of God in this. I'm going to see the quality of the infinite in this instead of the problem that my ego has me obsessing over. And that kind of a change in our mentality is everything. And a lot of people don't want to give up their addiction to the ego. They want to say, no, it really is a problem. There is no solution for me. I really am dust of the earth. I really am not powerful. They get very upset sometimes when you give them permission to have their power and to create change in their lives. They get very upset with you about that. So, everybody's at their own pace with this. But for you, obviously you're here to receive that because otherwise you wouldn't be listening to this. You have the power. You have the power to create change in your life, in all the earth, which is your life, by looking at the names of God within the circumstances rather than the names of the ego. To shift your perception in whatever way is necessary so that you can see the blessing and the gift there, the gift that was given you and the gift that you are to the world, in place of all of the problems that the ego has you obsessing over, which are not your birthright. Those problems are not your birthright. Your power is your birthright. You as the gift and you as the receiver of the gift. That's your birthright. So if that's not what you're experiencing something that the infinite did not create for you. And that gives you all kinds of wonderful work to do. And that work is always in the realms of consciousness, seeing it a different way. I'm going to see this a different way. I'm going to look for the name of God in this situation instead of the name of the ego. I'm going to look for myself as the gift to this situation, and I'm also going to look for how this situation is a gift to me. And once I see that, the whole thing changes, the problem itself dissolves, and I then have another example of my power, my divine power, my magical power, my supreme power as a divine child of the infinite. So you just keep coming back to this same psalm over and over again. Once a day is fine until you start to get a sense of peace and certainty about whatever situation it was that brought you to the psalm. Once you get that sense of peace and certainty that all is well, that means your spell has cast, and then you don't have to work the spell anymore, and you can move on to something else. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for being with me today. Until next time, blessed be. Let's see if we have any questions. My friend thinks, My friend thinks her ex and his mother did a binding spell on her. What do I recommend? Probably just an unbinding. If they, I don't know what they do. If they're religious people or if they're magical people. If they think that happened, then they need to undo it. I wouldn't get involved personally if I were you. That's just my personal recommendation. You do what you want. If somebody says somebody's done a binding, I don't go and unbind it for them. I tell them what to do. And what they can do is there's plenty of psalms for breaking hexes. In fact, one is today. One is today in the premiere. That's a good psalm. Psalm number 7. There's several other ones. And then I have an lemon uncrossing spell that they could do. There's cord cutting ceremonies that they could do. I have one on my channel. There's all kinds of things that they can do. But the bottom line is that they need to accept their power and cut ties with whatever that is. The idea that somebody can do a binding on you and that it has power over you is a common one. But why is their intention so much more powerful than the person's intention to be free of that? Right? They have to ask themselves that. Why do these people have power over me? Just because they know how to tie some knots in a cord and say some words or burn some incense, that gives them more power than them? No. So that's why sometimes the Psalms, if they're amicable to the idea of working psalms, sometimes the psalms are so much more powerful than anything else because you are allowing yourself to recognize a higher power whose will it is for them to not, whose will is not for them to be bound by another. It's not the infinite's will that they be bound by somebody. So if they're bound by somebody, and they don't feel like they have the power to unbind it themselves, then if they go to a psalm, that can be very helpful because then at least they're opening their mind to the idea that there's a higher power that doesn't will that for them, and then they can get relief that way. But if they can just come to the understanding that nobody has power to bind them, then they can use any kind of spell that they want to, or not. You know, sometimes you don't even need a spell. If you come to that realization that nobody has power to bind me, they can do whatever they want. That in and of itself, it often is enough to break the curse. But if not, that's why that's why we have that. I love that lemon uncrossing spell. That's such a nice one because it takes time. So that you can sort of like monitor the results of it. It takes time, and if it seems like it's not working, then there's stopgaps in it. Then do it again until the lemon is dry with no mold on it. As soon as it's dry with no mold on it, you know the spell has been broken. Could you do it without all that? Absolutely, you could do it in an instant just by honestly and sincerely rejecting it. But sometimes people aren't capable of doing that. So an operation such as the lemon uncrossing spell, or a cord cutting ceremony, or a psalm spell can be very helpful in those situations. Gosh, Ariel, that was long-winded, but I hope that helped you. Thanks for the question. I really appreciate it. Let's see, any other questions? Doesn't look like it. I hope you can join us for the premiere that's happening in about 7 minutes. Thank you so much to the amazing moderators, Jason and Honeypaw, and I see Dre here as well. Thank you so much. And we will see everybody, I hope, over at our premiere. Until next time, blessed be.